Alaska is a large land. Its mountains and glaciers have long been communication barriers. But on them now are 100-ton structures of steel. These are the antennas of Alaska's new long-distance telephone system, known as White Alice. The Air Force asked your Bell Telephone Company's manufacturing and supply arm, Western Electric, to solve a communications problem, to link our early warning radar network with our defense bases. In Alaska, the distances, terrain, and weather made telephone service to remote areas impractical, with radio communication often blocked by static. Towns and villages are widely scattered. Few roads exist, and there is only one railroad. But the Air Force needed a reliable all-weather system which, in the event of enemy attack, would provide instant communication to the military bases defending our continent. White Alice provided the solution. It uses a new principle known as tropospheric scatter transmission. Ultra-high frequency radio waves, unaffected by static storms, are precisely beamed by huge antennas straight out over the horizon. A tiny part of the radio signal, deflected downward by the troposphere, is received by other antennas up to 200 miles away, amplified, and beamed forward again. The resources of the Air Force, the Bell Telephone Companies and laboratories, and many subcontractors aided Western Electric in building White Alice. The enemy was time and weather. Tons of construction material were brought in by air, bits of a jigsaw puzzle ready to be put together by men and machines, becoming towers to stand up on the mountains, bolted securely to take the fury of wind and howling storms of winter. During weeks and months, the labor of men took shape. The strips of steel slowly grew to solid structures. With winter weather, work went on indoors. Inside the White Alice stations, miles of wire and cable were spliced together, followed by precise testing, adjusting. Though time and weather took their toll, not only the Air Force, but all Alaskans now have a reliable and dependable long-distance communication system. This film is dedicated to the people of our 49th state by the men who built White Alice. If they were to return to Alaska today, this is the land they would see. There are other seasons in Alaska. Season of the wild spring rose and the summer strawberry. A warm wind and thaw. But winter is the true season. From the northern tip of Point Barrow all the way down to Ketchikan. 1,500 miles is a long way in winter. Only 600 miles from Anchorage to Nome. But it's 6 months away, waiting till the waters open. It's winter in Alaska, a waiting time, a cold time. Where to begin and how to know a land? By its space, by miles between its cities and villages, by trade, minerals, climate, size. By all these, but mainly by its people, how they live and work and pass the time. In the ice-bound village of Kotzebue, 30 miles above the Arctic Circle, the closeness of people breaks down the cold and isolation.
There isn't much to do this part of the year except wait for spring. My place seems to be a favorite. Now that's Neil, our local bush pilot. Now that's his wife, Laura, local girl. She's a honey. It's work that's on their mind. Carpenters, masons, mechanics. They haven't forgotten how to hunt and fish either.
Across hundreds of miles of ice-covered stone and frozen hills, another group of men are waiting, prepared to defend the land. They are part of Alaska too, yet not Alaskans. They're from the outside, but many will stay on to accept the challenge of this land. It's growing country, a big country. Throw in Texas twice and still some room. 1,000 miles north to the Arctic Sea, 6 weeks by dog sled. The most precious possession of the house, the hunter's kayak, is getting a new skin made of seal from the summer's catch. Neighbors come in to help, each with a skill. They're as far from the next village as the time it takes for winter's ice to leave the waters. Weather is the clock here. A long way southward, at the University of Alaska, another group comes together.
I think we better stop. Right back at the double bar. If you'll separate that first eighth note from the next one, not beam, beam, but bum, ba-dum, bum, beam, beam, bum, just short. Let's try it that way once, right at the double bar.
The land seems only to be waiting, but another life stirs. Time that's asleep now wakens and stirs and leaps ahead in the morning air. The valleys awake. Anchorage to Nome, not in months, but hours. Kiska to Calicut, Fort Yukon to the chain, the motors sing and the miles go down. Miles into hours, and its echo is man, the echo that Galena hears, and down to Ketchikan. Time into hours, the big wings now span, an echo on Point Barrows Air, all the way to Ketchikan. How to know a land? Try and fit it into a single day. It'll tell part of the story. Start in Kotzebue. Laura sees Neil off on his morning flight to Nome.
Being the wife of a bush pilot can keep you busy. I'm sort of general assistant. I weigh baggage, sell tickets, and check weather reports. Sometimes I go along for the ride and do some shopping in Nome. But most days I wait in the office, listen to the weather, and hope for clear skies.
Kotzebue, Alaska Airlines 9778 Bravo, Cessna 180. Pilot is Burke. The VFR Kotzebue to Candle, Candle to Nome. Estimating 2 hours elapsed time. Have 5 hours fuel on board. Be traveling at 110 knots. And I'm estimating 5 minutes on the ground at Candle.
7978 Bravo, Kotzebue Radio. Roger, your flight plan.
How to know a land? Look to the villages. Look to the sky and beyond to the cities.
If you want a nice town, of worldly renown, come to Anchorage. Anchorage, it's not very far. Whatever you desire, it's easy to acquire in Anchorage. Anchorage, just north of Seattle. We're a full-size city with a touch of frontier. There's no other place we hold so dear. Growing all over, still plenty of room. Looks like we're headed for a permanent boom. Buildings in the sky, libraries and schools. 1,000 things we boast of.
Good things we have the most of.
What's that name again, please?
Anchorage, like an anchor.
It's just a town to be in.
Never too late, so get on board, mister.
For the 49th stage.
Anchorage,
Anchorage for you.
Just outside of Anchorage at Elmendorf Air Force Base, the daily training flights begin. Protection is part of the frontier, but it's a long way from the Old West and the 45. Try to tuck this weapon into a leather holster. From 30,000 feet down to less than 1,000, the sky is their common domain. Neil on the way to Nome with a stop at the village of Candle to deliver his passenger. Along the way, far from any voice, the isolated reindeer herder gets a hello. And if he didn't come out to wave, Neil would land and have a look. The sound that's friendly to man isn't very welcome to a herd of reindeer. Between the few cities and the web of rivers lie the scattered outposts of villages. The bush pilot ties them together. His kind opened the territory and blazed the early trails. He knows the land and it knows the sound of his coming. The kids of Candle, he's Daniel Boone and Santa Claus rolled into one. Explorer and bringer of gifts. Elsewhere, kids might run to meet the train. These never saw a train. Fletcher Umiak, the postmaster, wonders if his hi-fi speaker arrived in good shape. Neil says you won't know till it's plugged in. Also arrived a steam iron, a typewriter. And most precious, the mail. And more than mail, his coming from the sky, knowing that in all this vast and lonely space, there's a lifeline.
Nome Radio, Cessna 9778 Bravo, requesting your latest weather, please. Cessna 78 Bravo, Nome weather, sky partially obscure, estimated ceiling 700 overcast, visibility 1, light snow, blowing snow, wind north-northeast 25, altimeter 29 or 9 or 2, over. Roger on your weather, Nome. I'll continue on towards Nome as far as Salmon Lake, and I'm going to check on a trapper down there, and if the Nome weather is still bad, I'll return to Kotzebue.
The horizon grows, the day continues, the need of the day to be gathered together. From the single railroad Fairbanks to Seward, the need is echoed to the tundra beyond. The distance of days turns into hours. The day continues. Mount McKinley behind and Matanuska's fertile valley. Weather clear for the jets. But far to the north where Neil is flying, the afternoon air is gray and smells of change. Today his trapper friend Hugo doesn't answer. The clothesline empty. No smoke from the chimney. A danger sign in a land where the temperature can fall to 40 below.
Nome radio, Cessna 9778 Bravo.
Cessna 78 Bravo, Nome.
Nome radio, 78 Bravo. I'm now over Salmon Lake. I'm going to land. I'll be down on the ground about 5 minutes. How's your latest weather down there?
78 Bravo, Nome weather, sky partially obscure. Estimated ceiling 700 overcast, visibility 3/4, light snow, blowing snow, wind north-northeast 25, altimeter 29 or 9 or 2.
Roger, Nome. I'll be landing, be down the ground about 5 minutes, and then return to Kotzebue.
78 Bravo, Roger, landing Salmon Lake, remaining on the ground 5 minutes, and returning to Kotzebue. Will advise company.
Nome radio, Cessna 9778 Bravo. Nome radio.
Weather in the Arctic can play sudden tricks with the radio. Nome is just ahead but out of contact.
Nome radio, so you read. Granite Mountain Radio, Cessna 9778 Bravo on 3411. How do you read?
Granite Mountain, 100 miles away, gets the signal.
9778 Bravo, this is Granite Mountain Radio. Read you 2 by 2. Over.
Roger, Granite Mountain, 78 Bravo, request you relay a message to Nome.
78 Bravo, this is Granite Mountain Radio. Send you a message. Over.
Roger, 78 Bravo is down on Salmon Lake. Left hand here reads attention. Requesting you advise Nome and get me the latest Nome and Kotzebue weather.
7-8 Bravo, this is Granite Mountain Radio. Stand by, we'll call you back. Out. This is Granite Mountain White Alice. FAA operations, please.
FAA operations, please.
FAA communications.
This is Granite Mountain White Alice. I picked up Cessna 9778 Bravo down at Salmon Lake. Pilot has an injured person who needs medical attention. He wants the Kotzebue and Nome weather and the forecast.
Roger, Nome. Sky partially obscure. Estimated ceiling 700 overcast. Visibility 3/4. Light snow, blowing snow. Wind north-northeast 25. Altimeter 2992. Kotzebue. Estimated ceiling 1,000 overcast. Visibility 3. Light snow. Wind west 15. Peak gust at 20. And advise 7-8 Bravo. Remain on the ground, Salmon Lake, and we'll send ground transportation.
It's not an ambulance, but it's the only way to bring Hugo in. And driver Milton Adams is just the man to do it. Won the recent dog sled derby, harpooned a whale. He's also manager of the local dance team. He's sure of his dogs, and he's counting on them to get him back in time for the dance rehearsal. He hears the wind, but not the miracle of voices on the wind. White Alice on the hill behind, keeping the air of Alaska alive, bringing the land together.
Call me back as soon as you get your first shipment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, Dad. When are you going to come home?
But Colonel Blake is out of Washington this week, Major. The weather's still bad. I don't know if the flight will get out.
And give him penicillin twice a day until the temperature...
$9 for 3 minutes, plus...
What time the plane leaves for Japan?
Guarantee you a polar bear in 10 days.
I hear you fine, Rowan, honey.
Some wild dogs running loose.
Good Lord made Alaskan weather.
The telephone voice is beamed from the curved antenna into the sky, reflected down from the troposphere, picked up by the receiving antenna beyond the horizon, and beamed forward again. To these hills, once bare, builders brought their steel. Piece by piece, hauled in, flown in, dropped from the sky, they tamed the mountains, native and outsider, till the towers were placed and the heartbeat begun. From mountain to mountain, leaping the valleys, time is now instant as the wave of light. Hello from Barrow that Golconda hears. Hello from Juneau to the Cape of Whales. Time is at zero, distance is dead. How does one know a land? Not only by miles conquered or by cities between. The need to reach out is greater than all, as man is greater than these hills. For he has brought speech into silent places, and silence has answered. Where his footstep has passed is the echo of man, the echo that Galena hears, and down to Ketchikan.
Hey, Tom. How's Hugo? Hugo is going to be all right.
Milton Adams didn't quite make the rehearsal, but he did bring in the injured trapper safely.
Now, Jeannie and Junior, we'll do your numbers with your parkies on this time.
From the Bering Sea, the sun comes down, the sun comes down, all the way to Ketchikan. Come home to me, come home to me.
It's winter now in Alaska. The season of the Yukon rose and the summer strawberry lie waiting under the snow. Darkness comes on with its cold, with wind and silence, and it is not feared. The hills are in shadow. The day is over. The day in the life of a land, large as a nation, close as a family.
From Barrow to the Kenai Hills, the night is dark, the night is down. All the way to Ketchikan, come home to rest, come home to sleep.